I was looking at the different groups around Ireland that had organised groups to go to the World Youth Day. And this is something that we went to a few years ago. And it's an amazing event for youth to see the greatness and the beauty of our faith, just to network with other people. I remember when my daughter went to back in the day, she made friends that with girls that she remained friends with for many years. She actually went and visited them in Germany. But at the time, when my girl was a teenager, a young person, giovane, as they would say in Italian. At the time, I was looking around Ireland. I wonder which group I would send her in Ireland. And all of the different leaflets and flyers on World Youth Day, there wasn't that many of them around Ireland, says 18 to 30 or 18 to 35. And I said, okay, what's going on here in Ireland? I said, oh no, we're not bringing anybody under 8. We're only bringing adults to the World Youth Day. Legal adults. That was the answer I got it back a few years ago. And I was just checking the flyers from the different dioceses here around Ireland to see, well, what age group did we bring to Lisbon this year? And to my surprise, it's still 18 to 35. Now, a 35-year-old person, is if the average age that people die in Ireland is 83, 35 years, midlife. It's approaching midlife. I wouldn't say young people, but anyway, not discouraging people to going to these events, but to bring people back. When Pope John Paul II initiated this event, World Youth Day, the target age group was 14 to 30. That was the target age group, 14 to 30, not 18 to 35. 14 to 30. Otherwise, it's just young adults. Young adults World Day. The youth are totally neglected. They're not involved. So I looked up the different dioceses around Ireland to see, well, what age groups are you actually bringing to World Youth Day? And it's actually it's adults. There is no youth. People forget, in the 14 to 18 category in Ireland, in Catholic secondary schools, Catholic institutions, 14 to 18, you have 350,000 Catholic, baptized Catholics, 14 to 18 in Ireland, okay? Which have been completely excluded from the World Youth Day in Ireland, among a lot of the diocesan programs that I could see. Now, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe there are some groups that have brought secondary school students, but I don't see any Catholic schools in Ireland actually promoting World Youth Day. Catholic secondary schools. We can promote the skiing trips to Austria. The skiing trips, the European trips during gap year, during fourth year. I mean, I've two of my kids have gone on gap year trips at 16 with the teachers in their schools, in Catholic schools. So they've gone on these, but none of the Catholic schools that I have seen around here, none of them, zero, zilch, not one of them promoted World Youth Day, which is the target age group is 14 to 18. The students in there would be a perfect solution. It seems like we are absolutely incredibly failing our youth in Ireland. We give them a pat on the cheek at 12 years old when they make their confirmation, and then we say, well, we'll come back to you when you reach 18 and we might organise stuff for you. Now, when I asked the question over the last number of years, why aren't we doing more activities for teenagers? The big thing that people, priests, say to me, oh, it's all the new safeguarding regulations. I don't know how to do it, and I'm afraid because the new safeguarding regulations, I don't want to get involved in youth ministry. I don't want to do this because, the regulations are cumbersome. And I can understand the anxiety there because, you get it wrong and, things don't go very well. You're left responsible if something happens to children. But we're so anxious and so afraid because of these regulations that we have decided we will not do any youth ministry at a diocesan level at all in Ireland. Zero. Nothing. Zilch. Nada. Doesn't happen. You know, when I wanted to send my daughter to World Youth Day in Krakow, I had to go to Germany. I had to go to Germany and send her in with a group of her peers, of her age group, to go to World Youth Day because there was nothing in Ireland. Now, there are some groups, I do know that there are some movements in Ireland that do this, you know, so but if you're not part of those movements and if you're not willing to travel, like, it's very hard to get them involved. Like if you come up in a family that's Opus Dei or Neo-Catechumena movement or some of these other movements. But I was just looking at the Regnum Christi. I used to be Legionary of Christ. We used to work in schools. Looking at the Regnum Christi, I was just looking at the amount of students that they brought to World Youth Day. So 4,500 students. Now I believe from Ireland, a total of about 1,500 adults over 18s went to World Youth Day. I don't believe, from what I can see, anybody under the age of 18. I don't believe there was groups, specific schools in Ireland, although I stand corrected on that. But I was just asking around, what is going on and why aren't you engaging Irish secondary schools? I mean, the 16-year-olds, that age group, the 16. I know it's hard to bring under 16s because of passport regulations and travel regulations. So I can understand why the 14 to 16-year-old group is more difficult to traveling outside of Ireland. It's understandable. But the 16 to 18-year-olds, they can travel with adults. They can travel with adults, and it's a lot easier to bring them over there. And we have 300,000 of them in Irish Catholic schools. We look at our statistics that the bishops publish every year. We have 700,000 Catholic 700,000 Catholic secondary schools on the island of Ireland. 700,000. And if you just take out the 16 to 18-year-olds category group, you have 250,000, approximately 250,000 16-year-olds to 18-year-olds in Ireland. And that age group, most of them go on school trips, either within Ireland or they go on international school trips. You know, you see it all the time. The 18-year-olds, you see them, you know, doing their Leaving Cert abroad school trip. So we are utterly failing as a Catholic Church to group together. And my advice to anybody, to any priest that feels overwhelmed by organising a youth pilgrimage, especially teenagers, is to network together and to form a group, have collective responsibility and have clear boundaries. I mean, the GAA can do this. The GAA can work with teenagers very well. Our educational system, government Irish educational system, works with teenagers all the time. Teachers work with teenagers all the time. And they do this and they bring them on school trips all the time. And they do this within the framework that there is available. You know, if you have strong boundaries and strong regulations, you know, you can have a very good youth ministry with oversight, you know. Laying out the boundaries with the kids. Look, you know, you guys were going on a pilgrimage and us adults are not allowed into your room and we don't expect you to be allowed into our rooms, and there are certain boundaries here, normal boundaries, that you can expect from us and we expect from you. You know, lay it out, the boundaries that need to be there to have a responsible youth ministry, that everybody is clear what are the boundaries. So if these boundaries are crossed, people can recognise, okay, well, I'm not very comfortable with this guy, the way he's acting with me. I think he's pushing boundaries, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, there has to be some normal level of engagement with teenagers. I saw the Bishop of Cloyne put out today, a statement, a letter. And I was kind of surprised that this letter went out, in the sense that he's decrying the increase in drug levels, the increase in addictions, this, that and the other, what we can see in our society. Well, we have to offer an alternative. And if we're not willing as an Irish church to engage with the youth, not with adults. It's very well to say we went to World Youth Day. You went as a legal adult. You brought across legal adults to World Youth Day, which is fine, great. Nothing against that. Why aren't we bringing the youth from our 700 Irish secondary schools in Ireland? You know, there should be at least, guys, come on, 10 kids from every Irish secondary school at World Youth Day. 10 kids, 10 young people, 10 youth from every Irish Catholic secondary school at World Youth Day. At least 7,000 from our 300,000 young people, teenagers in Irish Catholic schools. Because if we're able to bring them on a skiing trip for a week, which we do, which happens, my kids have gone on it. If we're able to do that for our kids, why can't we bring them to a Catholic activity like World Youth Day? If we're able to bring them on a weekend away or a week to Austria or some European city, why can't we bring them to World Youth Day? My daughter went to CERN on an internship when she was 16, 17, something like this. Why can't we bring them to World Youth Day? You know, John Paul II, when he designed this, it was for 14 to 30-year-olds. That was who he was hoping to foster the faith in. And we are failing miserably in Ireland to actually engage with our teenagers, with the 12 to 18-year-olds. And that's a key moment of formation in a person's life, where there is practically no Catholic formation left for them in our Catholic secondary schools. We won't even promote them to bring them to World Youth Day, or to do an Irish Youth Day in Ireland, where you don't need to worry about passports and travel outside of Ireland to have, 20, 30,000 young people at an event in Ireland. I mean, all these kids are going to concerts and stuff like this, and yet we can't organise a Catholic event. I see Youth 2000. And I look at the age group that they promoted, which is 16 upwards. Okay, but where is the engagement to bring our young people into the faith? And people will say, Robert, you're being negative. What are you doing about this? And I'm just pointing out the fact. I have searched out for my kids to try and get them formation among the peers. It's not very easy. I was left trying to go to different groups. But, we could do so much more. What's the point in having a Catholic school, 700 secondary Catholic schools in Ireland, if we don't open up the faith to them? My son goes to the Austin school here beside my house. But there's been no faith formation there. Zero. Nada, zilch, nothing. You might as well remove the word diocesan and Catholic from the school for the amount of faith formation that is happening there. The same with the other schools. It's Catholic on paper, but nothing else. If we're not able to engage them, we're able to engage kids in sport. We're able to engage, all teenagers at all levels. We go to GAA cool camps every year. Massive amount of engagement in sport in Ireland. Massive amount of engagement in other activities in Ireland. We're able to bring them on, as I said, on skiing trips in gap year, on transition year. And yet we're not able to, in that same year, in transition year, in our 700,000 Catholic schools in Ireland, we're not able to bring them to World Youth Day. Instead of bringing them on a skiing trip, why don't I say, well, look, we're going to promote in our Catholic school for transition year, this year, we're going to promote World Youth Day. But, teachers and holidays during the summer and this and that and the other. I suppose it's a lot to ask maybe these days. But, so anybody, it can be done in a team with proper boundaries, proper accountability. You can do so much in Ireland. But we can't sit down now and abandon the youth. And by youth, I mean under 18-year-olds. That should be our first focus. I do think it's very, very sad that, the 14 to 18-year-olds really are absent from Irish delegation of that the youth that should be there aren't there, especially the 16-year-olds, those that can easier travel with other groups. They should be there. But I suppose that's where we are. That's where we are in Ireland at the moment. And I think it's amazing when you see the Legionaries of Christ, and I know them very well. I know many of the priests. I think it's amazing when you see them bringing the guts of 5,000 young people, youth, teenagers, to World Youth Day. It goes to show, they're not sitting back and being defeated. They're up there trying to renew the faith. And we can do that in the church. We don't have to sit back, because the world isn't sitting back. You know, our kid, we don't want to bring them to World Youth Day, but you know, our kids are getting caught up in addictions, in everything else that the world has to offer them, and they're not happy. You know, we see this so much. Anyway, let's challenge for the next time. Can we get our 700 Irish Catholic secondary schools to send 10 young people, 10 teenagers to World Youth Day? You know, that is for the youth from 14 to 30-year-old. That's the target age group for World Youth Day. It's not World Young Adult Day, it's World Youth Day. And that includes the 14 to 18-year-olds as a category that needs to be present there. I mean, anybody going to Lisbon, you'll see this from other groups. The Spaniards and the Portuguese, they will have brought teenagers to that event. And certainly the Germans did, because my daughter went when she was 16. So we'll see if we can revive this next time to engage, you know, that category of Catholics, which seems to be, I mean, there's very, very little for a Catholic teenager in Ireland. I mean, you do have to look around. There are some groups, but at local levels, in some of our dioceses, there's very little, if anything, to engage them, which is very, very sad. Anyway, God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.